some good disengage tools to try to escape from a lot of the hard lockdown coming in from Bangladesh's composition.
They're going for something really aggressive as well with these three heroes that actually can rotate in the early game with the Terizla, with the Grok, with the Lilia, plus Angslot that man rotate very well in the early game, trying to keep the space towards this Cloud into mid the late game. But 1-1 pick comes out from the side of Bangladesh. Yeah, I do feel like the Martis along with the Minotaur can be flexed to be put inside of the jungle or roam, but I don't really like the position of the Minotaur to be picked as the roamer. I do feel like the jungle is going to be much more sense here, since like the Martis can play much more aggressive rather than the Minotaur itself. With the minion Fury, I think like Minotaur will be having a really good setup for the rest of the player coming from the side of Bangladesh to have a really good setup for the war with the Ferash Shrek along with the crossbow staff. It's gonna be super important laning phase between the Cloud and also the 1-1. Who is actually gonna be winning for this one? Because if 1-1 not gonna be able to maybe poke the Cloud in the early game, it's not gonna be very easy going to the mid to late game.
1-1 pick is definitely, I would say 1-1 is still in a very good place right now, because even though you lose a lot of that early game pressure with a lot of the nerfs towards her ultimate and her first skill with the stun being removed, it still is very good into the late game. Once you get those item power spikes, once you get those into the mid game at least, is when you really get going, right? So you're not, it's just a little adjustment that you guys need to make on the 1-1. And I feel like Bangladesh solidified a pretty solid composition, and it is going to be Blaze on the Minotaur roam, so no flex on that pick right now. The glue against a Terizla is definitely a pretty hard matchup, especially considering that Big Black Clock here is in the XP lane, just continuously putting some pressure down, but Bangladesh are doing a pretty good job as well, up in the gold lane, doing the same thing. Yahiko gonna get chunked quite a bit. You gotta respect the Wan, man. She's not the lane bully she was, but she will still be able to dish out a lot of damage if she gets that first skill down.
Yeah, plus not forgetting the weakness point to the side of Yahiko, so that one actually exchanging damage to one another, but the rotation that is being made to proceed to the XP lane coming from the side of Nepal, they're just trying to keep the pressure, but in the top lane, Yahiko.
Whoa, a dive attempt already. Execution still waiting. Execution still waiting. Not popping his fire, actually saving it. And this is going to be really well played. They baited out a whole lot, and they're going to be able to crash in this wave to deny even more gold. All the while, not really losing anything on the map aside from that turret gold in the mid lane. Definitely more worth it to shut the gold laner down in the early stage of the game. With K7 able to rotate down into the mid lane, it's just a quarter of it being chunked. And guess what? It's only onto the utility jungler and the mid laner who's not really going to be able to fully punish.
1 point to the side of 1-1 and even taking down Cloud is going to be slowing the tempo of the progress here from the Cloud side. Despite that, it's going to be catch up real soon with the blazing duet that can be provided after level 4, but the progress right now might lead Bangladesh to something else. But the thing is, the goal differences, it's not too far, but somehow Nepal still lead the goal. They're still having a better in terms of taking the farm here. The rotation that is being made right now to the turtle might have quite a big war right now, Mirko.
Whether airstrike as well as a split mount already, but the wild charge is there to respond it through. Surge able to flicker out of the penalty zone right now. The Thorn Rose will be popped in. Now it's Lunatic who's caught in the bad situation, brought back. Xenox with the black shoes now kiting away. Blaze going to have to respect them right now as both teams disengage, but Mr. Ray is in a better position to actually look for the turtle, even able to invade for now. Puts and delegates the Lord or the turtle take towards Surge for now. They dish out a little bit more damage. Both junglers still having the retribution. Blaze trying to clear out that mid lane, but will be chunked quite low by Xenox once again. Xerox now it's going to be the Minion Fury onto the back line, and this Lunatic Panda who secures retribution now. It's an all-out brawl, and Bangladesh will be able to secure one kill on the board. Lunatic Panda with a few more dashes in his kit. Bangladesh leads with the kills, but will lose out in that objective battle.
Oh, the objective battle, it's quite a long war right there. They're just like trying to focus to get over the turtle. They're trying to find a way to actually got it without any uh, undisciplined movement. But the thing is, after one big CC and also the AOE from coming from the side of Bangladesh, it's just gonna be pretty hard for Nepal to come back from that kind of situation. They really need to focus on to dive in even to the backline of Team Bangladesh, especially for the K7 along with execution here. But the front liner also like pretty scary, despite that this Minotaur actually quite easy to be pulled to the side from the side of Nepal, but another movement coming to the top lane. They try to push back this cloud to not having a proper farm. They're trying to not giving them time to try to be in the prime time to try to initiate Bangladesh. They're preventing all of the unnecessary move here from Nepal to try to dive in, to try to initiate towards Bangladesh. And the thing is, the goal so far is actually still very okay coming from both of the sides. They're still trying to catch up with the differences and everything. But the Farsha with the Purify, this is one of the things that I want to really uh, be here. I really noticed that with the Purify that only for the penalty zone, I don't think like it's really worth it.
Penalty zone is definitely a way to look for these catches, right? Because right now, if we take a look at Bangladesh, they're not really threatened by the penalty zone for now. They have the proper amount of Purify. The one has a built-in Purify. And for the rest of the members, they have anti-CC, like Mr. Ray, definitely on the Martis with the Mortal Coil. So that CC threat that Nepal has is definitely not as big as Bangladesh's threat right now with Blaze jumping in onto Big Black Claw, looking for an opening right now, jumps in with a wild charge, chains it perfectly for Lancelot to pick up the Lord for free. K7 now forced to run away, has the Purify, and will hold on to it right there as Masaraf doesn't go for the Flicker penalty zone. They're just going to be able to siege down onto the mid lane right now, but watch out. Masaraf is waiting for it, looking for a moment to just flicker in. That's the puncture onto K7, putting some pressure down. But we'll just utilize that to zone K7 away to get some puncture stacks ongoing, and to Retri to take the orange buff away.
They're still collecting the orange buff here. And also like we can see that actually what if you are not really prepared, and it's easier to go closer to the base. And after getting that one, your map control, especially towards the purple buff to the opponent, or maybe even towards the turtle or lord, gonna be so much better on your side because you're having more control over the map. And right now, Nepal having the lead over that one. And plus, the 2000 ult is actually looking so good for them. They are able to initiate or try to put Bangladesh in a very hard situation, and maybe even like wasting their resources is going to be really good.
Whoa, not too sure what's going on there. It's the wild charge and the penalty zone completely whipping. The Minute Fury going to be able to lock them down right now, but Yahiko gets the blazing duet, full duration onto the members from Bangladesh. Surge now mounting Masaraf, bringing him back and getting the kill down. Just one more weakness point to pop in that crossbow tang, but execution will not be able to execute Mr. Lunatic Panda on this Lancelot. Still, it's Nepal who is holding on to the lead despite losing in that skirmish.
Yeah, they're getting one jungler in exchange of the EXP. I think like it's still gonna be super worth it for the side of Nepal, and they're the one who actually initiate on the top lane. They try to push it back towards Bangladesh with the penalty zone along with the wild charge. And I think right now Bangladesh trying to redeem that one by taking one turret. But on the other hand, we see Nepal, they're just like being so disciplined to take another objective. They're exchanging it with the turret, and even will try to maybe push into the bottom lane with the presence of the Lilia along with the Lancelot. And they got it. Still a benefit to Nepal in this kind of situation.
Fella, it seems like we're watching a very similar game as we watched earlier. Now, Big Black Clock with the wild charge, able to pop in that Purify, but with black shoes will not be able to survive there. Survives through it all despite getting engaged on. And I was about to say, Nepal played an amazing team fight, went on to K7, but Bangladesh were able to win out of the skirmish. So back to my point, man, it's like the game we watched earlier, Vela, where Cambodia were the aggressors. Nepal are like the Philippines, who are very objective, and they need to stop and chill pill when it comes to engaging on these team fights, because it feels like whenever they engage, it's 50-50. Either they win or they lose very hard.
Yeah, it's either win or lose. And the mirroring that keep happening coming from the side of Nepal is just like super crazy. And right now in the bottom lane, I don't think like Masaraf will be able to survive from protecting over the turret here. It's gonna be like super big resources that is being used by Bangladesh to try to secure that one. But the thing is, if Bangladesh keep doing this, keep sticking together to get the objective game that they are expecting. And with that kind of positioning, it's actually going to be a very good one for them. We can see from the replay that actually the Black Shoes is being used too early, in my opinion. And the one that want to take off the K7 is just like diving too deep. There is no other follow-up. There is no other protection that they can do from the situation that happened just now. So yeah, right now it's gonna be super important who is actually gonna be taking the Lord, because so far Nepal keep getting that objective. Will Bangladesh try to steal that from Nepal now?
The later game goes, obviously, Bangladesh will have a little bit more to say, right? Because this Minotaur will actually have more base to make. Considering that Nepal don't even have a Purify, it's definitely going to help them out, right? Opening up that side of the bush with the Mortal Coil, utilizing that anti-CC. Surge doing the same thing there with the slam. Mid lane to be pushed in by Nepal as they look for more space, more pressure to play with. Yahiko respect plays right now, just jumping back and forth, trying to bait in that Minuan Fury. But for both of the teams, they do not want to fully commit just yet. Bangladesh, once again, looking for the space. But both teams, again, it feels like they're just very hesitant to go for a team fight because it hasn't worked for them when they engage.
Yeah. They really want to take this one, but they want to take it under control. They don't want to overdo it. They don't want to try to initiate it not in the good terms. But look at that one. Actually, execution. Try to put it that way, but really take back block here. He is trying to get the information and might be having a very good market with Mr. A jumping at Miracle.
Okay, good chunk of damage there. A lot of poke, feather airstrike being popped down. Only onto the frontliners though. Only Masarov and Big Black Clock gets the damage done. It practically just tickles them right now. They are still going to be able to sustain all the way back up. Xerox still has the Black Shoes as well. Mid lane trying to be micromanaged here. When we take a look at the jungle, it does seem like Lunatic Panda has a one level lead. Certainly going to be able to utilize that to pressure the Lord even more with the take. Bangladesh not able to really find their footing in this game despite having a better team fight comp.
They're wasting 2 minutes to just like focus on the Lord. They are not even trying to control the minion. Look at that one. 2 big minion waves in the whole thing that might take the outer turret if no one's actually going for it. And it's just like they keep doing what is Bangladesh doing. They want to pressure towards the Lord. They really want to steal that one. They are desperate for it. And even Fedra Shrike is being popped right now. One of their big resources. And I don't think they will try to go for more here, Miguel.
Masarov with a penalty zone, onto two with a flicker combo, and it's wild charge from Mr. Big Black Clock. It's double kill picked up now, looking for more. Blaze and Surge both forced to flicker out, but Yahiko is on the chase. Surge running for the hills now, going under the tier 2 to get to safety. And Nepal, when they pull the trigger to go for that big fight now, in a position where they can actually take the dub, it works for them as long as they do it in a position where it's good.
That's the case. That's why I was like, after the first shots Federal Strike being used, it's not going to be looking good for Bangladesh. They are doing it without any kind of resource of damage coming from the side of Bangladesh, and that penalty zone that is being followed up by the drop, by the lunatic, by everyone coming from the side of Nepal, the one that's taking everyone down from Bangladesh is being melted down so fast, and now the Lord is marching to the bottom lane of Team Bangladesh. No, Nepal is just like taking it back on their control. They are winning another objective. The patience is being paid off really well here with all of the damage, and even the second one is popping.
Oh, three-man Minion Fury by Blaze. Spying some time, acting as a covered tool, but Mr. Yahiko is right there as well with the BMI, taking the turret into the mid lane. Very good punish. So far, it feels like whenever Big Black Clock gets a good engage, they win. So Nepal are really, really leading on to that Big Clock energy coming in as that's going to be the base turret taken down below. Now looking for more, blazing to win onto the back with no minion fury. Nothing is there to cancel it out. Execution forced to use that with nature right now. The Phantom Execution is used up to the back line as well. Now it's going to be split over
But we
onto
can see
Surge.
here,
Able to find a
you
peel
can see
back.
the 7 even right here for Serge, and now the blue is being taken care of here with the mortal coil that is being popped by Mr. Ray. He really wants to take control of the game right here. It's 7-7 in the 14 minutes, but the hyper situation coming from the Bangladesh side here. You can see it. Oh my god, the Bilal is not going for Mr. Ray, and damage for the execution. He's still trying to run away from this one, but Black Juice is being used right now from the Lilia.
Wow, brilliant fight there. Brilliant response as well, honestly, from Bangladesh. That could have been much worse for them had they continued to, again, give that position over to Nepal. Beautiful engages are the win condition from Nepal. It all relies on Masarab or Big Black Clock to look for those big CC initiations with the wild charge and the penalty zone. Meanwhile, for Bangladesh, they gotta play it a little bit smarter here. They gotta be reactive with their Minion Fury and with their built-in Purifies.
Oh, they really need to be careful. It's three base turret down coming from the side of Bangladesh with 8,000 gold lead by Nepal. They are taking all of the controls and they still want to get the second lord. Now, Bangladesh will be pushed, will be forced to join the war to try to pick off the player or maybe try to initiate towards lord, which is not a good sign because again, they are not in the prime position here since we know they are losing in terms of gap level and also the gold. So the item, I think, like from the side of Cloud, it's almost like full item here from Yahiko itself. But look at that place being melted quite fast by the basic attack coming from the side of Cloud. We can imagine how much magic damage that can come out from this Lilia that is already using. I think like it's a SP1 along with the glowing one so far from the Lilia.
No, you can already see Nepal utilizing the Lilia that you just mentioned to try to poke down the Lord. Blaze! Oh my goodness, that poke damage from Yahiko and from Xerox melts down the main frontliner of Bangladesh. Mr. Ray looking for the opening right now with the Mortal Coil. Surge with a split, but Mr. Big Black Clock with the wild charge and blazing duet onto the back line, forcing execution to go for the win of nature. But in the base, there's Lunatic Panda who's simultaneously able to clear out the waves to bring it back under the base. Now Bangladesh pinned down, 4 members taken out. Nepal wants to end the game. 17 minutes in with 2 waves coming down. Mr. Ray, will he be able to pull off a miracle play with a lot of damage coming down onto him? It seems like it is not going to happen for Bangladesh. Game number 1 secured by Nepal.
Oh my god, you can see that how the movement that is coming from this Lancelot taking down the 1-1 solo in front of the bag and taking it just like that. They're just like taking all of the controls here over the movement coming from Team Bangladesh. At first, Bangladesh was trying so hard to not reacting to every act that is being brought by Nepal. But the mirroring over the objective coming from the Nepal side is the one that makes them have a lot of leads. Even despite Bangladesh was having a lead in terms of kills, was 2-0 if I'm not mistaken in the early game. That is led by Bangladesh, but Nepal was able to take control over the parent, over the turtle. All turtle, I bet, is being taken by the hand of Nepal here. And it's just keep going on. The turtle, the parrots, and they keep trying to track off the backlander of the Bangladesh. When they have like this kind of patience, they just playing around with the patience coming from Bangladesh and taking the opportunity coming from that one.
Beautiful drafts from the start, just a few counter picks here and there, and a very good foundation to their draft with solid mid control, fella. That Lilia first pick turned out to be absolutely amazing. And what's strange is they didn't even need purifies. You would think up against a Minotaur, you want to go for the purify, right? We saw the Diggy
Yeah,
banned out, so that's literally a big purify, a time journey taken out of the board because of that concern. So with no purify, they were able to still basically play around the Minion Fury, wait and bait for it every single time to make this composition work in the end.
yeah. I think like the initiation, the purpose having the glue and also Minotaur to actually like trying to pick up and also having a big CC towards Team Nepal is not really working. Like whenever the Minotaur is up here, up, whenever the Minotaur is there, like he's being pulled hard, brutally. I might say from the Lilia, from the Rizla, everyone coming from the side of Team Nepal, they're just like poking him down. That's why like picking over the Minotaur actually a very good idea. I do feel like the CC is actually pretty big. The heal is also gonna be helping. But aside of that one, you don't have any kind of initiation. You need to set up for a Minotaur. That's why usually whenever we see Minotaur, we have another kind of setup hero, Lapu Lapu perhaps, or another kind of hero that can help him out. Even Lolita, I think like Lolita Minotaur combo is actually going to be a very good one. But without that, actually it's pretty hard for Minotaur to be the one who opening up setup, especially going for a hero like Cloud, like Terizla, that can counter you back. You open the Minuan Buri, but there is a penalty zone from the Terizla. You cannot really following up the setup that is being made by Bangladesh. So actually, it's actually a good draft, but not in the good draft because of the opponent's draft. So yeah, I think like Bangladesh was not having the moment for this one, but we don't know what will happen into the second game, but also the third game. Maybe if there is a third game, because so far, whatever we cast is always like clean win.
You're right. So far, it has always been just 2-0s, 3-0s all across the board. We haven't had a close series in the ISF so far in the Asian regional qualifier. So it's definitely going to be a breath of fresh air to see maybe an equalizer here from Bangladesh because so far it does feel like on a skill level side, this is the closest game we've had. Both teams understand what they're doing and how they can actually just adjust mid game to each other with even though Bangladesh kind of faltered in the early game, they were able to make some proper adjustments to be the reactive team and let Nepal go for these engages, wait for those mistakes, wait for them to overcommit to punish them through. But overall, it does still seem like Nepal are the better proactive team. And if you look at the pattern, usually the proactive team ends up winning the series all around in a full clean sweep. We're going to take a look at the match summary, post-match summary here for game number one to take a deep dive as to what exactly happened. Was it the initiation? Was it a draft? Who has the best KDA right now? And we're also going to see the MVP later on.
Ooh, who is it gonna be? Because I think like everyone have their own portion for this one. Everyone have a really good initiation, but I was thinking about Lilia or Tarizla at this rate. But yeah, before that we will be seeing the total KDA here with the Croc that is actually not even being picked once, despite that he is the front liner. He is the one that opening up the map. He is the one that is trying to see the information coming from this Bangladesh side. Even the K7, we thought that with the Parsha on board from the Bangladesh side, will be able to help them to provide the damage, to provide what they need with Ferrat track. But it's not really happening with the presence coming from Masarap along with the big back block here with the Grok. They're just like initiating. They have tons of heroes to actually dive in to try to seek for execution along with K7. 13 and 7 is 20 total kills so far, but the head-to-head with the Pulse match here with 13 elimination point in the hand of Nepal, while for the side of Bangladesh is 47 and 40 assists. From the assists, we can see how much interaction that they have to try to seek the pressure towards Bangladesh. The action per minute is actually pretty huge as well coming from Nepal. We know that actually the initiation that they try to bring towards the objective or even towards the pick of combination is just going really great. But this is gonna be the MVP for this one. 0012 by the Grok Big Back Club with 92% team fight participation.
Gotta give it to him, man. Nepal really finds their comfort winning out. Firstly, with the initiations that comes from Big Black Clock. Like I said, in game, right? Nepal really relying on that big clock energy to carry them through in these initiations. And hey, he delivers absolutely in this game with a lot of those crazy wild charges. And if he continues to do so, this will definitely skyrocket Nepal over with maybe match point, right? So maybe for Bangladesh, their next course of action would be to try to shut Big Black Clock down.
You know what? They're trying to eliminate a lot of rumor here with the Franco, with the Dicky here. But the presence coming from the Grok, I mean, like, it's not really a disabling hero, you know, with the wild charge only. They are the one just like playing super aggressive. So I don't think like from the side of this Romer from Nepal, they can play different kind of type of hero with at this rate. They just like need a hero that can play aggressively. I was thinking if they are gonna be surprising us to another kind of super aggressive one like Natalia, because I do feel like the movement is kind of like that way.
It's honestly phenomenal, right? The way they were rotating across the map as well, fella. And we got to give a massive shout out to Nepal here with their player because it's really given a lot of smiles and a lot of enjoyment to everyone watching as well with his amazing initiations. And I hope we get to see more of the big clock energy from game number 2 onwards because you need to get him on these initiation heroes. He is an absolute playmaker on the Grok. Give him something like an Atlas, a Kufra, and maybe Bangladesh know what they're up against because if you take a look at the bans earlier, there were a couple of big roamer bans too.
Yeah, that's why maybe they know each other. Maybe they know that they've done their homework here to find what is actually Nepal have on their head right now. I want to see something new, something fun into the second game. I mean, we saw the Minotaur, we saw the Lilia pick, which is pretty rare right now. It's not like very common to be pick inside of the line of dawn. So I want to see what kind of draft that they will try to bring out for this one, especially coming from the Bangladesh. I think like they really need to think outside of the box for this. They really need to have something different with all of the progress that they've seen from Nepal side. We saw that how aggressive they are, how they are trying, not going for something that they are not really sure. They are just changing it to something that they can funnel on into the objective or something else. So if they can try to figure out how to actually have in the early game and try to max the potential to the mid to late game, actually it's going to be very good one.
Mid to late, early to mid. So far, though, we have seen that the early to mid strategies have been working much more efficiently at ISF Asian regional qualifiers, and maybe it's just the meta. When you have that early game, especially when you have a 5,000 gold lead or higher than 5,000 gold lead, like you did mention in match number 2, it's almost like a death sentence for these competitive teams, for these high level teams, because they're going to be able to utilize that gold lead really, really well to suffocate their opponents and take the game very slow. Discipline is the name of the game. And I think Nepal has had much more discipline to play with compared to Bangladesh, who are still very impulsive in the way they were initiating and the way they were taking these fights because it felt like they were just going into these fights without a lot of the setup, without a lot of thought put into them, like the waves over in the side lanes that were controlled. Because in the end, what made them give up the fight was that Lancelot split pushing into the mid lane.
Now we're not going to be seeing the Lancelot right now. It's directly being banned from the side of Bangladesh because they know how is Nepal with that one Yahiko using the Lancelot with a lot of rotation. I was thinking when you were mentioning about the early game situation, is that why they are trying to pick over the Lilia? Because we know Lilia is a very strong hero into the early game situation with the Agri Glue, with the Magic Shockwave. That's actually going to be super good and super painful here. But we see that actually there is Yves, there is Lancelot, there is Fredrin, Melissa, and 1-1. Actually, a lot of marksmen is being banned at this point. Without the Melissa, without the 1-1 is actually pretty interesting. But Paramis, along with the Cloud, is a very huge surprise. Is actually it's being prioritized again. Previously, Previously, we saw it from the Philippine side, but right now we can see it from the Nepal that is controlling over the clock, just like what they did in the previous game. I think like it's one of the signature hero.
It's like it's mostly because of the poke and the utility that it provides to the team, right? And honestly, because it's just really good. The Lilia was able to just stop a lot of the movement coming in from Bangladesh with those glues being placed in the right positions, and with the corrosion side, something very underrated about the on-hit meta or the attack speed meta that we are having now in the gold lane is the fact that the corrosion side is a utility item. It slows down a lot of the members when you actually basic attack. And with Claude, when you pop in that blazing duet, it's basically an AoE slow. Sounds familiar? Yeah, because it's literally what Lilia does as well. If he goes, oh no, for the ice whole Ice Queen won, but the Diggy really is a solid pickup here. You can see that Bangladesh are really already trying to put down some, pressure for just these crazy big lockdown heroes. So the fact that Nepal have secured the Diggy in the first phase is such a massive blow towards Bangladesh, who basically have their plan completely foiled already.
Yeah, it's actually that's why maybe it was banned in the previous game. We can see that actually it was banned before, and they are having it the last first phase. We pick from the side of Team Nepal. It's gonna be super aggressive early game about with the time bomb coming from the DK with the damage that can be given by Lilia along with the clock, just like what you've mentioned with the Corosite side and also the blazing duet that can be used later. But Akai now is being eliminated. They really need a setup hero. But I think Teresa is still on board to be picked, which one of the hero that can be very good hero right now from the side of Nepal. Previously, they were using the Teresa as well. So far, they're still having the same kind of drop, but Teresa directly being banned here from the side of Bangladesh. Also eliminating the Beatrix, one of the hero that is actually going to be very good lane, but Kari is still there though.
Gary is still available, up for grabs right now for Team Bangladesh to take. Thing is, though, we did not see the carry last game as well, even though it was up for grabs. Bangladesh might just go for something a bit more gimmicky as well. Something we've seen before is the Clint does pretty well as in this lane. Honestly, the matchup against the